let's move on. The 2021 breakouts. These are some players that that haven't made their mark in the NFL yet, but they could this season. Justin Jefferson did it last season, and he exploded in a huge way. We're just looking for someone who has never been fantasy relevant to become now fantasy relevant. So, Ryan, you want to give us one of your guys?
Okay. Well, talking about former Rams tight ends, Gerald Everett is my guy this year. So before that amazing stretch of Tyler Higbee, Gerald Everett had the best game of his career. And it was about to be his breakout stretch. And then he got hurt, leading to the Tyler Higbee got down. All right. He's going to Seattle. He is by far the most athletic tight end they have. If you look at the last 2 seasons, Russ has thrown 6 or more touchdowns to tight ends. One was Greg Olsen, and he retired. He was old. And I think Jake Hollister is now with the Bills. And
don't forget Will Dissly.
Well, he's a sissy, so he keeps getting hurt as well.
Yeah, I don't think he's a sissy. I think he's a pretty good player. He's just hurt often.
No. He shouldn't be hurt as much as
ACLs and MCLs will do that to you.
It's okay. The thing about that is, I just think that he also is the only one that knows the offense. Remember, they hired the Rams, I think his quarterback coach, to become their offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So he knows the offense. Russ throws a touchdown to tight end. I think Everett's going to be a guy that leads like that lower tier of tight ends, like that 9 through 13 range in touchdowns. And I think that's how he sneaks up there, because he's never going to get the yards because DK and Tyler Lockett are amazing, and Chris Carson's a really good running back. But if he gets the touchdowns, he sneaks right up into that 9 to 13 range.
Absolutely, I'm riding that Gerald Everett train. I'm trying to drive it, but I don't know if
he's basically free at your end of drafts.
Yeah, exactly. And you could, I think he'll land somewhere right at the end of the tight end 1 category to get that with your last pick of the draft or one of the last picks of the draft. I'm taking that almost every time, especially if I don't get one of the top 3 guys. I'm fine waiting at that point. Yeah. Tyler Higbee maybe is another guy that I'm kind of high on, but Gerald Everett definitely. But Tyler Higbee, you have to get in like the 9th or 10th round. Gerald Everett, you're getting at the end of the draft. So, what were you gonna say, Ryan?
No, nothing. It's okay.
Okay. All right. One of my guys for the 2021 breakout, I'm going to use Darnell Mooney. He's a second-year wide receiver for the Chicago Bears. He's 23 right now. He will turn 24 during the season in October. So he's still really young. He was a rookie last season. He is the number 2 option on the Bears already. He has surpassed Anthony Miller behind Allen Robinson. He was the second in all receiving categories except for touchdowns, where he was behind Robinson and Jimmy Graham. And who knows, he also did this all with Mitchell Trubisky. Now, they will at least have Andy Dalton, who is
whoa. Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles.
Don't
disrespect my man.
True, Nick Foles.
Don't disrespect my man, bro. Super Bowl MVP, Nick Foles.
Yeah, Big Dick Nick.
Yeah.
He did, but he will have Andy Dalton, who is a slight improvement over those guys, and then Justin Fields, who I think is a large improvement over those guys. He already put up 61 receptions on 98 targets, 631 yards. He only had 4 touchdowns. I think he will score more touchdowns. I think he steals a few of those away from Graham. He was wide receiver 51 last year, but he finished 2 weeks at wide receiver 18. He has the ability to finish in those wide receiver 1 numbers. I don't know if he'll do it that often, but I expect him to be a consistent wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2 option. And he's going in the 12th or 13th round again near the end of your draft. It's an easy snag there. He could easily break out. This offense, if it fires on all cylinders, Darnell Mooney will absolutely be a breakout.
For sure. Mooney is money.
I just want to interrupt
Oh.
real quick and say thank you for copying me, JJ. So you're a couple
Good
months
cop.
too late. I've been saying.
Oh, yeah. Me too, though. All off season. So peep the Twitter, bro.
You definitely heard it here first.
All right, Keoni.
That's me.
Who's
Sorry, but yeah, I got my first guy is Michael Pittman of the Indianapolis Colts. And as if you've been listening, you know I'm kind of on the Colts hype train in various, like in more ways than one. You know, I tend to stand them as a team collectively, and Michael Pittman is no exception moving into next season. And I think he had his rookie season last season, and then I see him taking the number one spot from Old Man Hilton this year and becoming the first partner for the Indianapolis Colts version of the law offices of Reich and Wentz. So it'll be in big, bold letters, partner Michael Pittman. So stay tuned for that. And I just think they have a more agile quarterback than Rivers, because I mean, basically anybody is a more agile quarterback than Phillip Rivers.
Drew?
And that's not a slight on him. Like, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame, but I feel like, yeah, that's a whole different debate. But I think this team is also going to be really, really hungry, especially with the way how their season finished last year, losing a pretty kind of down like the stretch game, like sort of final drive against the Bills in the playoffs last season. Like, I think that should have been an AFC play or an AFC championship game, but it was like the first game of the playoffs. And so I think they improved their team with Wentz coming in, and I think he's going to leave all the drama from the Eagles behind and focus ahead and do really, really well, as I've said before. And I think that because of that, Michael Pittman's just going to take the reins and use all of that momentum to become the number one wide receiver on that team and really show what he can do, because he didn't get a whole lot of a chance last year, because I think he was injured for part of the year.
Yeah.
And so I think with all the improvements they've made, I think he's going to take that number one spot and just get a lot more points than what you might expect him to get based off where he's going to be drafted. So he's another steal and in this draft, I think.
Yeah, he got hurt at the beginning of the season, so he was behind from the very beginning. Pretty much puts you, especially in your rookie year, puts you behind for the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
That Colts wide receiver group is going to be really interesting to watch during these mini camps and during the rest of this offseason, these training camp battles, to see, because there's like, it's been T.Y. Hilton for years and years and years now as the number one. We don't really know who it's going to be, who that number one receiver is going to be. I would love if it was Michael Pittman, but again, if it's not, I think Pittman's still, like, he's pretty big and they love getting him the ball on the outside of those screens or slant routes, stuff like that. They're going to manufacture touches for him. I like him. I'm with you.
I like Pittman too. Again, like you said, he did have a big playoff game. Not 10 targets, 9 catches for 90 yards. And like JJ said, I think it will be a little competition because Paris Campbell also comes back, and he had a big game right before I think he tore his ACL right before he got hurt and was out for the season. And then Zach Pascal is still there, and he's kind of sneaky. So
definitely sneaky. T.Y. Hilton is still there too. But yeah, he's going, like, T.Y. Hilton, I think will still play. I don't think he'll be the number one on the team anymore, but that's what I'm saying. It's going to be interesting. I got another guy, Javion Hawkins, rookie running back coming out of Louisville. He went undrafted to the Atlanta Falcons. And then is he this year's James Robinson? I don't know. the only real competition he has there is Mike Davis. Yes, they went and got Cordell Patterson. I don't think Cordell Patterson's going to take away that much running down, that many running down snaps. He will be in more of a pass down, but that could still eat into Javion Hawkins snaps. Mike Davis, the real competition there. He was pretty good in a lot of games, replacing CMC for the Panthers last year, but he did slow down towards the end of the season, showing that he couldn't be the sole back on a team, I believe. And this is also his fourth team in 4 years. So I think Mike Davis, while he is a good running back in the NFL, he's not the number one running back. And so Javion Hawkins will get snaps. He will have his time to shine. In 8 games before he opted out in 2020, he had 133 attempts. That's 16.6 a game, 822 yards, and 7 touchdowns. In 2019, when he played the full 13 game slate, he had 264 attempts, 20.3 a game, and 1,525 yards and 9 touchdowns. He also scored 1 through the air. He only had like 20 catches or something like that, 16, 20 catches. So he doesn't do a ton through the air, but I think he can do a little bit. He went undrafted. So the team is not going to feel like they have to give him any work at all. But I think because they didn't really draft anyone, that he is still going to get those works. And I think he's going to surprise us all and come out and take over this running back room and be fantasy relevant by the end of the season.
I like this pick. Again, Mike Davis is a little inconsistent, and he's a journeyman. Hawkins, I would say the one thing is he's a smaller guy, 5'8", 183, and I'm not sure how much Arthur Smith likes that, just because he's been used to Henry, but he did have Deion Lewis too, and Deion Lewis did play good before Henry took over. I like Hawkins because he's just such big playability. What is it called? I think he had 3 touchdowns over 70 yards in 2020, 70, 75, and 90 yards. So that's pretty impressive. If he gets out, he's getting away.
Absolutely. Keoni, how you feel?
I think you hit a good point, specifically about Mike Davis, because likewise, I don't see him playing the entirety of a season or being the guy who can be like that number one throughout the entire season. So they're going to be switching that backfield up at various times. And that combined with his playmaking ability, as Ryan said, it just shows that he will be a name to see throughout the season and make an impact. So look for him. Yeah.
Do you guys have another guy? Another breakout?
Yeah, I got one.
All right. That's with it.
Damian Harris, Patriots. I think this guy becomes a legit fantasy star. And the only thing that is going to hold against him is that Cam Newton's going to rush. But all 3 of us have Cam Newton not playing the full season. And I think if he gets Mac Jones, his stock is going to fly up. And the Patriots say it's a legit competition between both of them. Last year,
between both of who?
Oh, Mac Jones and Cam Newton.
Cam Newton. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think there's any competition with Harris. I mean, he might not get the passing down work, but last year in 10 games, he had 137 yards or 137 carries. If he would have played all full 16, it would have averaged out to 220. All right. And I think with Sonny Michel, who everyone keeps saying he's going to get cut, if you hear anyone talk about him, even some beat reporters, and Ramondre
Stevenson.
Yeah.
The rookie.
I don't think he's going to have a big role. I think that Harris is going to be a 1,000-yard runner. I think he gets 6 or more touchdowns. If he can add 25 receptions, he can be 2018 rookie Nick Chubb-ish.
I think we might be shooting our So it's a little high with that one.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because James White is still there. James White is going to be the passing down back there. I agree with you. This man could be 1,000-yard rusher. I am higher than a lot of people on Ramondre Stevenson. Sony Michelle, gone, gone. Get out. But yeah, I agree with you. Harris could easily break out this year. Don't sleep on him. Keoni.
Oh yeah. I don't.
You
I
got-
choose not. I choose not to comment on the New England running back situation. So
Anyone in New England?
yeah,
Bold
well-
strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
but I'll stick with the same division,
Okay.
and it's Tua time. Tua Tagovailoa. He didn't get to play, like it was him and Fitzpatrick kind of going back and forth last year, and he didn't get a whole ton of a chance to play. And he had a very typical kind of rookie season, but I think he hopefully learned a lot from that, and he has a lot of pressure on him this year because it feels like a make or break season for him. So if he doesn't do well, then it's kind of like, where do they go from there? But I think he's going to live up to the pressure, and out of the people who it is a make or break season, I think he's going to do the best, if not like do the best compared to where he was last year. And I think they put the elements around him in order to help him get there, because they drafted Jalen Waddle in the first round, which is really helpful because he can break people's ankles and he can get open, which is what a young wide receiver or young quarterback needs, is just that option to be able to get the ball downfield. And then also in the second round, they drafted Liam Eichenberg as an offensive tackle, because one of the big things they needed to do is give their quarterback more time to pass the ball. And so in a combination of wide receivers getting open and getting more time, that will help him tremendously become more comfortable in the pocket and find his footing that he needs to in the NFL. So with both of those, and I mean, even if Liam Eichenberg doesn't play, it's that competition. So hopefully it raises the level of the O-line, but still they need to give him more time. And then they address that within the draft as well as in the receiver game. So he has Devontae Parker, he has Mike Gesicki, who we expect to do really well this year. And they have Jalen Waddle in there, who I expect to maybe not have like a breakout year, but I think he's going to be, he just can make people miss, and he'll be a good guy to get the ball to because he'll be open. And I'm expecting him to be the Samoan slingshot this year. So that's who Tua will be.
Did you look that nickname up, or did you just think of it? Because if you did just think of it, that's pretty creative. If you looked it up, also
I looked up what his background, like what his heritage was or his lineage, because he was born in Hawaii, in Ava Beach. Shout out Ava Beach, windward side. But he is of Samoan descent, I should say, because there's an Oaxaca there. So yeah, I had to make sure it was like, because Polynesia, like there's a lot of similarities, but it is important to their distinct nationalities and stuff like that. So
well,
yeah,
I love this pick, Keoni. Great job.
Thank you.
He's on my dynasty team, so I really hope it happens. And I like this whole Dolphins offense, to be honest. I think they're got guys all over the field that can make plays, and it's not Jakeem Grant dropping the ball anymore. So, and if you all the offseason notes is they're trying to make him push the ball down the field. I mean, I remember had that guy beat writer who said he threw 5 picks, but then forgot to leave out how bad the weather was. So if you're gonna throw it, you're gonna throw it.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I did not like about Tua last year. That he did not throw it down the field. He did not throw the ball down the field. But again, that could have been because the offensive line was not giving him time, like Keoni addressed. If he has more time, maybe he's looking down the field farther. They can let routes actually progress down the field. I'm just worried that it's not going to happen. they are putting everything around him to make him succeed, and they're going to know very quickly if he's their guy or not. So I think the Dolphins are doing the right things, but I'm not completely sold on Tua. I could be wrong though. We'll see.
And like I said on a previous pod, the offensive coordinator didn't want Tua. Like,
No, yeah.
he wanted to coach Fitzpatrick. You could see, I mean, yeah, Fitzpatrick played different, and he played like he didn't care, but the offensive coordinator didn't want Tua. And what they did, they fired the offensive coordinator, got 2 more, or co-offensive coordinators, whatever they are.
And then they went and got help for Tua.
Yeah,
They
so
really did. The Giants did the same thing with Daniel Jones, where like those two guys are like in the same spot for me. I don't think
Mhm.
either of them produce that much for fantasy, but those teams are giving them weapons. The only thing is the Giants did not get Daniel Jones an offensive line, any offensive line help. The Dolphins didn't need as much offensive line help. They did need some. They went and got some, just a little bit, but hopefully it helps.
Hey you! Check out some of these other cool videos we have, as well as subscribe and click that bell. It really helps our channel out. And don't forget to stay dreamin'.